Hello, and welcome to Every Day is Funny, the meditative morning show about newspaper comics. Some exciting shows coming up tomorrow and the following day. I will be broadcasting from the Jersey Shore. On location episodes, very exciting stuff because the recordings will probably be worse and the editing worse because I'll be doing it off my phone. So look forward to that. But first, today, wow, what a week of content I'm hyping up. But today, I will read the responses from the first ever out of context comic competition. Kind of a play on the famous Every Day is Funny caption contest. But in this scenario, I gave y'all a very out of context comic that I found on the subreddit, Out of Context Comics. And I asked you to give me a fake scenario for what is happening in this comic strip. And so just to reiterate, I'll put the comic again on my Instagram. It's also on everydayisfunny.com. The comic consists of Archie and Jughead. Archie says, "Why were you crouching behind that wall?" Jughead says, "Oh, that, exercise." And he's sweating a lot. So let's see what you came up with for what is going on here. First up, Bob Barker. Wow, I thought you were dead, Bob. With the email address, that's what she said 69@hotmail.com. Man, what went on behind those Price is Right office doors? I'm sure he was a good guy. And Bob Barker says, what happened in this scene? He just invented the core workout wall sits, but is embarrassed that he looks crazy sitting on an invisible chair. That's probably true. Like, the first person to do that, what did that look like? They were like scratching themselves in a weird way. So I like that. That's accurate. Okay. Bob has two other scenarios. Second up, he was eavesdropping on Archie and is panicking that he was caught. That's such a serious take. Bob, I wanted jokes. That's such a serious attempt to describe what's happening. All right, I like it. I didn't ask specifically for anything silly. Maybe he's just eavesdropping on Archie, and that probably is the actual plot of the comic. Finally, Bob. He was hitting some baddie from behind and doesn't want to fucking tell. All right, I might have to bleep that. It's a morning show, man. And why'd you say hitting twice? Oh my God. Hitting some baddie. How does Jughead do with the ladies? Does the crown help? Crown, help or hurt? I'd love for y'all to chime in. I guess email me. Tell me what you think of Jughead's crown, if it helps or if it hurts his game. I feel like he can't be doing as well as Archie. Although Archie's a redhead and that tends to drag you down. No offense. Love to all the gingers. I don't know. I would think Archie does better than Jughead. But I haven't read a lot of the comic. Anyway, hitting somebody from behind. All right. Next up. All right, it's from Adam Oppenheimer, but I did not write this. Somebody is impersonating me. I think federally, I could take some action. Methinks. Get some cash, make this podcast go into the stratosphere. Take this baby to the next level with that cash that I get from suing you. All right, if the submissions are good, I won't sue you. Adam Oppenheimer says, what's happening in this scene? There's 3 answers. First up, he really was exercising. He just feels uncomfortable knowing Archie was watching him like a lurker. That's true. I mean, what's the line from that Bo Burnham special? I'm self-conscious about my body because I don't go to the gym, and I don't go to the gym because I'm self-conscious about my body. Sometimes it's hard, man. He's just trying to do a few jumping jacks. Archie's just clinging around him. Let him live, man. Next up. Okay, this next one's going to involve the fact that Archie, when he asks the question in the original comic, there's typos. He actually says, instead of, why were you crouching behind that wall? It reads, why were you crouching behind that wall? Then Jughead says, oh, that exercise. So that's necessary for this submission where Adam Oppenheimer says, Jughead said exercising because the speech bubble isn't a typo. That's actually what Archie said, and Jughead has no idea what Archie is trying to say and feels really awkward. I love that one. That's great. Takes into account the comic and the typo. I love that. Great submission. I'm not suing you. It's declared. That would be sad to see the downfall of your friend like that, just making a bunch of, I don't know, starting to act like Joe Biden at the debates. I don't want to get political, but this just happened last night, and that's not even my side. I don't know. I might cut that out. Last up, from Adio. He had just hoisted Betty over the wall of a bank they're robbing, and Archie caught them red-handed. So Jughead is trying to cover for Betty because she needs the money for her student loan debt, but Archie is such a moral elitist, they're worried he won't understand or be supportive. I love that. That's great. This is like how it feels like you're giving a nice creative writing prompt to people, and they're just smashing zingers over the green monster, you know what I mean? I feel like my analogies are all over the place today. But that'd be great to like see this scene. Archie's asking this. Meanwhile, they're standing right next to a very low bank wall with a broken window, and they're just hearing Betty going like, get on the ground. And Jughead's outside going like, it's just exercise. All right. Next up, submission from Not Jeff at notjeff420@gmail.com. He thinks it's Jeff. Anyway, their submission, Jughead was taking a shit behind the wall. Guys, I really do want to stress this is a morning show, and I love any viewer and anybody who sends a submission in, but the filth coming in to some of these captions is, like, I'm trying to get, as I've said in the past, I'm trying to get a very elderly co-host on the show because I think that'd be very funny and fit the theme well. But no righteous elderly person is going to come on if they hear this kind of stuff coming out of my mouth. You know what I'm talking about? And I'll try and pin it on y'all, and it's like it wasn't my words, and they'll be like, no, you chose what you said. But Jughead was taking a shit behind the wall is probably a very solid guess as to what's happening here. He's very sweaty. Finally, Grant submission at email@address.com. Amazing he got that one. What's happening in this scene? First up, Grant says, a continuation. Boy in blue shirt scratches his head. Pinocchio, don't lie to me. I don't want that nose getting as excited as I'll be when I see Olivia from history class also crouched down behind that wall. Okay, so he's continuing this strip. I like that he doesn't know even who Archie is. That's funny. And I was going to point out that Jughead's nose is very elongated. So I think that's funny to point that out. Also, it's very funny to say, excited as I'll be when I see Olivia from history class crouched down behind that wall also. Like, you're expecting many people to be crouching behind the wall soon? That's like par for the course, part of the schedule. I like that. Second up from Grant. The boy in red is ashamed. Just look up the names, Grant. It's Jughead. I even said it on the app. All right, sorry. I'm thankfully submitted. I'm not being critical. All right, second up. The boy in red is ashamed to show that he is doing Richard Simmons workouts behind the wall alongside his 8 Richard Simmons dolls. He wipes the sweat off his forehead reflexively with one of the dolls. So he's trying to be sneaky, but he also brought and set up a collection of dolls to do workouts alongside. And then he uses dolls to wipe sweat off of himself. Man, we're ending on a real weirdo one, Grant. But I love you. Were there Richard Simmons dolls? I guess there must have been. You got to take advantage of the merch possibilities, but I've never seen one. Wiping your sweat off with a doll is such a bizarre image. Grant, I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing okay. These were all very strange. If you need any professional help, email me at everydayisfunnyshow@gmail.com. I can point you in the right direction. Zocdoc. All right, let's get to the comics. That was great, though. I love this out-of-context comic thing. I'll definitely be doing this again. So thank you to everyone who submitted. And let's get to the comics. All right, Hi and Lois. We see Chip walking with a girl. Chip says, "If you're going to be my girlfriend this summer, you'll have to follow certain rules." She says, "Such as?" Chip says, "No texting me before noon." I guess that's funny. Chip gonna being emotionally abusive. That's pretty classic newspaper. No, I know it's because Chip doesn't wake up early. Chip really leans into the fact that he's lazy. So I don't know what this girl sees in him. He's telling her she has to follow certain rules. He's never gonna wake up before noon. He's not gonna get a job. We know that from past days. I don't know about this Chip character. And when you don't know about this Chip character, that points you back to, you guessed it, the parents. I don't know about Hi and Lois anymore. They gotta be raising their son to have a work ethic, to be kind to his loved ones. I think this author is trying to tell us something. I think within the next week, Chip is gonna go off the deep end. I don't know what degree, but stay tuned. Let's get to Rex Morgan, MD. Because yesterday, Corey was going to check on his friend Parker, who had just been punched in the hallway by a bully, and Corey was approaching the scene of the crime, while some students looked on horrified. So let's see what happens. Okay, we see Corey running up to the scene. Corey says, "What just happened?" A fellow student says, "That new kid hit Parker and then took off running?" Corey Okay, I know I shouldn't laugh at this visual, but there is something so funny about the way Parker is lying on the ground in pain. Maybe it's the way their hands are placed, their face, that makes them look 40 years older. I don't know, it's very funny. Anyway, Parker kneels down next to Corey, says, "Parker, you okay?" Parker goes, And the fellow kid goes, "Kid hit their head pretty hard when they fell." Wow. We are really getting into the juicy meat and potatoes of Rex Morgan, MD. This is some real constant action happening. My main thing, other than all of those students in the first panel having the same frowned face looking at Corey, you should really go take a look at that. My main thing, the bully ran away? I thought the whole point was to embrace the fight, make a bigger thing of it. I didn't think we were looking at a punch and run, also known as a hit and run. Why, when it has a real term, would I make up a new thing? A hit and run. Did not expect a hit and run. That's real low for the bully. And I know they're a bully and their moral code is probably running on empty already, but I did expect them to like stick around and maybe continue the fight or take ownership in some way. I did not expect a flee. That's real lame on the bully's part. So my respect for Parker has gone up immensely, and I'm firmly on Parker's side in this battle. Kid hit their head pretty hard when they fell. It also got hit pretty hard when the bully punched them in the head pretty hard, kid. And it seems like you had a pretty good visual on this whole scene, and you didn't do a thing to interject. The kids at this school are not close to one another. They really don't seem to care about one another. They like always congregate when a fight's about to happen, but just stand motionless and weird in the background. Also, why? Oh man, I can't believe I almost didn't notice this. Why is one student in that first panel in black and white and everyone else is in color? And they just look like their life is in shambles because they were not given the respect of color by, the illustrator, or in their case, probably God himself. That's fascinating. They look like a ghost just hanging around. Like the ghost of another kid who got punched by that bully and is just watching history repeat itself. All right, I'm spending too long on this strip. Let me think of what to comment. Okay. I'm gonna comment based on what I just said. The black and white ghost boy on the left of panel 1 had come a long way to haunt the children that morning. But upon seeing Parker's troubles, they realized this school has already been put through enough today. Send. Imagine in the middle of this whole bully scenario and plotline, they just add like a ghost boy that comes to the school. That'd be so awesome. All right. Time to wind down for this Friday, June 28th. I hope you have a lovely start to your weekend. I'll see you from the Jersey Shore with bad sound quality. And remember, every day is funny.